Keep in mind that President Trump's envoy, also to Moscow, but more recently to Iran and in the Middle East, has been his golfing buddy and real estate mogul, Mr. Witkoff. Mr. Witkoff, after talking to the Iranians, by the way, after talking to the Russians, we thought we were on the road to normalizing relations with Russia. That's all gone away suddenly. We thought that we were on the road back to something similar to the JCPOA that was established under the Obama administration with Iran. It turns out that that was unacceptable to Mr. Netanyahu. And suddenly we changed our position and said there can be no enrichment of uranium of any kind under any circumstances. Well, that's a deal killer. You can't come to any arrangement with the Iranians. Recently, the Pakistani foreign minister said Iran has the right to enrich uranium. Nobody disputes that, and that cannot be part of a deal. Well, obviously, the Pakistanis have their own nuclear weapons, and so do the Indians, and others have looked at this, and they know Israel is well armed with nuclear weapons, and so their view is you can't exclude this from any arrangement with Iran. And I think the other thing that came up, of course, is the ballistic missile arsenal. Mr. Netanyahu wanted limits on those ranges. And of course, Mr. Netanyahu said in the Oval Office what he really wants is the Libyan solution for Iran. I don't think his opinion has changed. And it's important that everyone keep in mind that Mr. Netanyahu currently has far more influence in the Senate and the House in the United States over what they do, what they vote for, and what they think than Mr. Trump does.
It's very sad. But, I mean, looking at the number of standing ovations, yes. Yes.
And Gaza has gone almost completely unnoticed in the United States. If you bring it up, well, you're obviously an anti-Semite. If you suggest that the United States should not support a program of mass murder and expulsion of people from Gaza, or for that matter, the West Bank, which is also on the agenda, you don't know what you're talking about, and you must be an anti-Semite. It was surprising to me after all of this time that the German government finally woke up and said this is unacceptable to us. They've been on the apology tour for 80 years, and it's been very difficult for them to take any position which was critical of Israel. Finally, they've acknowledged this is wrong. I don't see that happening anytime soon in the United States. So I think right now it's hard to predict with certainty, but I think we're still on the path to conflict with Iran. Now, you'll probably say, how does that happen? And we can talk about that if you want to. Well, you have to understand how people view conflict with Iran in Washington. The first thing they'll tell you is there will be no ground force involved. Well, that's true. We have none to send. Our army is pitifully small. It's in no condition to mount a major offensive on the ground anywhere in the world right now. The Marine Corps, which is usually used to extend or expand the army, is in no position to augment the army. It's gone through profound changes. It simply could not fight in this high-intensity conventional environment. So there will be no ground forces. That's the argument. And so the question is, what are you trying to achieve? And the two things that they want to talk about is, number one, they want to destroy Iran's capacity to enrich uranium. In other words, its nuclear underground development site. And number two, they will tell you, we really need to go after that regime. That's the problem. The Iranian people are ready to rebel against it. If we destroy the regime, the Iranians will take care of the rest. And they're convinced that if they use the munitions, conventional, that have been developed by the Air Force, these enormous, megaton bombs with conventional explosives that are designed to penetrate and do enormous damage, as we've seen for instance, in Beirut when they killed the leader of Hezbollah. Those munitions can be used, and they think they will be successful. So that's the way they view it. And then they say, we have to add to all of this, obviously, the fleet and the rest of the Air Force, so we can destroy their integrated air defenses. And when you say, well, are you sure about that? And do you think you can actually penetrate deeply into their airspace and deliver these munitions? Oh, of course. Absolutely. So I think there is a great deal of confidence in the supremacy of the United States Air Force and the United States Navy's Air Force and missile arsenal. And they think they can achieve that outcome. Now, right now, it's pretty clear that President Trump does not want war with Iran. When I talked to him at the same time we were discussing withdrawing forces from Germany, it was very clear to me he didn't want a war with Iran. This is not someone who wants war. Well, that's fine. Then you need to prevent it. And at this point, he's not in a position to do so. Because if Mr. Netanyahu, one way or another, starts the war and ends up flying against Iranian air defenses and delivering whatever munitions he has, and he has virtually everything that we do at this point, or even worst case, decides to use a low-yield nuclear weapon to destroy the site, which I think would be a catastrophic error, but it's on the table for the Israelis, we would inevitably be dragged into this on their side. And that goes back to the control and influence that he has on the Hill. And all you have to do is listen to the people on the Hill. Listen to these senators speak. Yeah. You know, did you hear this man Kennedy, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, who said, I think Mr. Trump has been dishonored and insulted by Mr. Putin. I think we should turn Russia into fish food. Please stop and think about that. It's a statement of incalculable stupidity and ignorance, but that passes for serious thinking on the Hill. Look at Lindsey Graham. Go down the whole list of senators, and it's not just Republicans. There are plenty of Democrats who agree. This is the uniparty. The uniparty supports war. So I don't think he can avoid it if it gets started. He'll have to become involved. One last thing I would say, and this is very important to the Europeans, do not assume what I described will be contained within the Middle East. The Russians, the Chinese, others, Pakistan, India, all of these people have an interest in what happens. And the Russians in particular are not going to allow us to pulverize Iran into submission. I don't think the Chinese will either. And again, that's why when you look at what are the ramifications, implications, the Egyptians that have sat on the border quietly will no longer sit on the border quietly. They will attack. Even the Jordanians, who had the most to lose because they're the least stable, they would attack. And then the real question is, what do the Turks do? The Turks have played along. You saw Mr. Trump go to the Middle East. You saw him compliment Mr. Gilani, the former head or deputy head of ISIS, and tell everybody he's a fine young man, very attractive young man. Why did he do that? Because Mr. Gilani reports to Mr. Erdogan in Turkey. Without the Turkish involvement in the destruction of the Assad regime, nothing over there would have changed. Right now, what he's trying to do is hold together this Turkish-Israeli cooperative alliance because he's trying to ensure that they attain hegemony over the region. Well, that may not work because the Turks take a different view of their relationship with Israel right now. And that relationship could change as suddenly as the Nazi-Soviet relationship changed in June of 1941. Yeah. So all of these things need to be kept in mind, and we haven't even talked about the situation here at home. We still have enormous problems. We have 50+ million illegals. Criminality is still out of control. Our borders are not completely secure. We're still seeing human and drug trafficking pouring through the legal ports of entry on the borders with Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. Things are not good here, okay? Our societal cohesion is not strong. But you never know it on Fantasy Island. On Fantasy Island, everything is fine. Everything is wonderful, and we are the invincible, invulnerable superpower.